So, Eric, what is your favorite thing about your backyard?
The lovely sound of luscious water.
See, I knew that. What about the air plants that you have floating
They're
like
still
little
there.
avatar fairies
They're strung with little clear fishing lines, so it looks like they're floating
in like
right
in
above
air.
the fountain that has the terrarium that you made me that is still
Are they doing okay?
surviving
The
and
succulents?
I haven't done anything. And
Well,
they're
you
still doing
missed it. You do something.
No, I think it's because it's on the fountain that it gets a
Oh, it's
little bit
little
of
residuals.
sprinkly residual water.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole here, and here you are listening to Home Wizards, and we want to find ways to create that, right? Whether it's summer, whether it's fall. Isn't
You're
it
talking
great?
about an outdoor oasis.
An outdoor oasis, and to have that backyard, that side yard, maybe it's just a patio that you have, or it's a deck, whatever, a balcony. We want you to feel like you have that professionally landscaped look.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's kind of like making order out of the chaos of nature. You know, nature's beautiful when it's just wild, but when you slightly steer it into a certain place or a certain direction where there's some sense of order.
Manicuring it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, or just, you know, having collections of things, or, you know, if you've got the tall grasses, you also have lower, you know, it's the 3-level thing. Whatever it is, there's some sort of a plan that gives you a rhythm, if you will. That gives you a sense of that there's a little bit of order and it's relaxing.
See, here you go back into the song business. It gets back to music, doesn't
Yes,
it?
it does.
It
I think
is.
it does, yeah.
So
it really is.
treat your yard like a song.
Yeah.
Okay. So
First course, out.
so what about where you're going to sit? You have a picnic table.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I have a picnic table. I've got outdoor couch. I've got great Adirondack chairs that I did incidentally. And this is a little tip for all you folks out there in Radio Land. If you've never spent some time at the garbage dump, taking stuff and dropping it off, you would be amazed what you find there. I used to go there when I was dropping, you know, demolished rooms in a truck that I dumped there. You sit there, and there's actually a whole culture within these garbage dumps where the guys that run the dumps are, if you need something.
Like, oh, yeah, it's over there in aisle 5.
I got, in aisle 5. I got a bunch of chairs, and I got a velvet crescendo. You know, they got everything. You know, you just have to get in with them, and they'll tell you, because people throw out stuff that you cannot believe they've thrown out.
So
I got these Adirondack chairs out of the dump.
And you painted them up?
I painted them up,
great.
and they're beautiful chairs. They're absolutely free to the user.
See, for the user.
Right.
And so the guy, Jack, at the dump was very helpful,
I would bring
apparently.
him half a tuna sandwich, and Jack's there going, hey, guess what I got for you today?
Next week,
Yeah,
go back.
you ever seen the Gilligan's Island whole series, the first series? I got it right here in box set. You know, he had everything. It was
That's
great.
funny.
Yeah.
So why not? Let's give you some ideas. Think about that. Going to the dump is a great start, but creating a place to sit, maybe a picnic table or a picnic patio,
Yep.
a nice little setting. I love that. Something else that...
Something about patio. Let me just go back.
Sure.
The footfall area of the patio.
Oh, right.
You want to make sure that you're either going to commit to that you always have to wear shoes on it, or you want to be able to have the ability to be barefoot on it, right? So what is that surface? Does that mean it's a deck? Does it mean it's stone that's a little uneven?
Is it grass?
With uneven stone comes tables that rock slightly. Those are things that you have to make sure that's part of your consciousness about being outside. So a lot of people just like it to be pristine, and you're literally taking a living room from the inside and putting it out. That's going to be a hard surface that's even. But if you want more of that natural feel, then keep in mind that the tables are going to rock, and you're going to have to call the busboy to get sugar packets to level the table.
Right.
Or I can't eat here.
Right. Well, what if there isn't that person?
Then you call your son or daughter to make them do it.
Another great thing to do after you have decided what you want your surface to be, whether it is the patio or it's just anywhere in your space that's outside. I love the look of mosses growing naturally, although you're playing with nature, you're planting them right around these boulders and rocks, so they're just kind of tucked here and there. And they can be either like succulents that are, you know, ground covers, or really beautiful shade focused like Scotch moss or deep green Irish moss. And they just they get greener and greener, and they love, you know, the really misty, if you live in an area where there's a lot of maybe an ocean breeze, or in the Midwest where it's cooler at times and you have part shade, part sun, gorgeous.
And also they sell flats of those mosses, which they're absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And depending, like you say, the sun exposure. You got to usually have a lot of shade in those scenarios where there isn't a lot of moisture.
Or if you have a pond,
man, those
setup.
are pretty.
It really is.
I love
And they
it.
grow just like crazy and they just kind of spill over. And it just makes your space, if you have a walkway or a patio, let's say you didn't have much of a yard, you could still buy one of these flats of these moss, types and then create a little miniature hardscape, or I could say like a tabletop, or I've seen this done where you have the moss spilling out over some kind of a flat vase, and it's
Sure.
just like it's a terracotta pot of some kind, and it's right there, and put some rocks in it, and now you've created your mini garden on your table,
Yeah,
on
that's
your
a good idea.
on your balcony,
And,
let's say.
and even if you're in Phoenix or something
Yeah.
where it's 1,000 degrees, if that's in the shade,
And you missed
can
it.
mist it
Yeah.
often, you could probably get away
Yeah,
with it. So
yeah.
it's just, again, your weather conditions around you. And then if you want that soft feel and you are in an area that's a little more arid, the natural grasses, the indigenous grasses to the area can be really beautiful and effective. Now, for example, where I live, the new health club that they just built on the university there, they did a wonderful job of creating this sort of almost wheat field feel as the wind kicks in as you're walking in
Very
there.
meadow-ish.
It actually looks like a meadow, and it could be anywhere, but that's a really great way to achieve, especially in a dry, arid area. Some of those grasses work in that climate. It just gives you that feeling of softness, and the wind shows up when you watch those things blow.
And again, you can put that in containers. You could
sure could,
if you
yeah.
didn't have much yard, or you're worried about it taking over your yard or whatever, you could try it in a limited space with a couple of matching containers.
Yeah,
It would look gorgeous.
absolutely
Even by a
beautiful.
front door, either by, as bookends either side.
And don't be afraid to try indigenous stuff that comes from your area, because it's going to survive no matter what you do. And I think that's a really great
All right.
thing, especially in the time of drought a little bit. It's a great idea to have those natural grasses.
Getting back to our love of succulents, this is, again, something very inexpensive, very easy to do. You can do it right now over the weekend. You get a concrete container. Or you could even make it concrete container, but it's a square container, and then you buy a bunch of these little teeny tiny succulents. They're everywhere. They're all the rage. They're at the front of the grocery stores. They're in all the hardware stores and the specialty stores. But you get the silver gray ones, different colors, the green and the fuzzy ones, and you put it in some soil, cover it with some nice finishing rocks, and then in this concrete square container on your table outside in your patio, it just looks elegant, and it makes you feel like a professional created this space.
True.
Yeah.
Great.
Very simple to do.
The other thing too is if you're blessed or cursed, depending on how you look at it, with a big block wall, and it just seems like, what am I going to do with this thing? I've done some great stuff with cinder block walls that had stucco over them, where you can do striping for a little more contemporary feel. You can, I did this on a wall that an old house of mine. It was a black wall, and it was like, what am I going to do with this area? So what we did is we did vertical stripes, and
Love
it
that.
was different thicknesses. So
Uh-huh.
one stripe would be an inch, one would be 3, another one next to it would be a quarter inch, another one would be 5 inches.
Like wallpaper almost.
Almost like wallpaper, and do different colors on each of those different strips. Make it random. Don't get too specific with it. You'd be amazed what that does. It brings this whole element of color to an otherwise very drab concrete wall that you would have just thought, oh my goodness, this is awful. But that's a great thing to do, and all you need to do is use. You can either do chalk line for those runs of line from the top to bottom, or blue painter's tape to create those striping scenarios, which I think are really, really pretty. So give that a try. If
Love that.
If you don't have.
Instant lighting is huge. That's going to make your space feel like you are at a hotel, or that somebody professional made this outdoor space just look romantic and magical, right? Something like the Pirates of the Caribbean. Don't you love when you go stand in line at Disneyland for that ride, and you see the fireflies and all those lights,
I
and it just
know.
feels so magical, like something great's going to happen. Well,
love that.
you can buy these plastic globes. They're recycled plastic globes, or even in the lighting section of like the big box stores, you buy these big plastic or even glass globes that are used for lamps.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I know what you
that
mean.
are like ceiling lamps,
Right.
But it has a hole at the bottom, and you buy a few of these, and you can place these around your yard or off to a side of a seating area, and then you get these battery-operated string of lights, or even tea lights that either have like a battery, light or
That's really
candle,
pretty.
and you put it inside, and it glows like moons. And
Oh,
so you
wow.
just have those around your yard.
Tinkerbell's going to show up.
You better believe it, or pirates. Something.
Yeah, listen, I'll take either one.
Only happy pirates.
Yeah.
But I just think that's kind of a fun idea. I mean, there's just very simple things that you can do right away to make your space look like it's something that a landscaper did.
Yeah, great. Love it.
Well, we have more ideas for you right here on Home Wizards. Eric Stormer, Cindy Dole. You're listening to where we love to improve your home and improve your life.